Welcome everyone. It's day 5 of National Apprenticeship Week and we're here to look at finding your ideal apprenticeship. We've done sessions all the way through the week so far. We've looked at the different levels. We've looked at what you can achieve with an apprenticeship. We've looked at what a day in the life of an apprentice looks like, so to see what they actually do on a day-to-day basis. We've also busted some myths yesterday. Okay, busted some myths, thought about some of those things that are falsehoods, but also what the advantages and disadvantages are. And then today we're going to talk about finding your apprenticeship. This is a really important step because as students and maybe as parents, where do you look for an apprenticeship? How do you find an apprenticeship? How do you potentially find something that you want to do? Or how do you know what's interesting? Or how do you know about the industry? And also, where do you just look? It's as simple as that. Where do you look? For those of you that are on that are parents, it's great that you're here because you're here to learn and make sure that your child is going to go on to the best step. And you want to get the right information, which I think is a really valuable thing because you're trying to understand why they're interested in it, what piques their interest. So Natilda, obviously your daughter is at school, but these recordings will be available once edited and up on the website ASAP, so you'll be able to enjoy them. But tell me, have a think about, do you know what level she wants to do, what industry she wants to do it in? And then we can guide you. So we are looking at finding your ideal apprenticeship. I'm Max, I'm from Pathway CTM as ever. I'm the head of student support and events, so I run events like this, and this is kind of support as well, because I'm going to support students and parents to understand about apprenticeships and opportunities. So for example, today, I've been talking to students about the Vodafone roles, different apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships with Vodafone, great company, and they close today. So students need to move quickly and make sure they've got those applications in. Now, just a recap of what Pathway can do for you. You can get access to all of our events like today. You have access to the online resources about employability skills, and maybe I'm going to show you that. We've got the virtual work experience opportunities and physical ones. Then we've got competitions, prizes, and more. The bit about the virtual and physical work experience is actually an important one, and we're going to cover that today. So in the agenda today, we're going to look at the different apprenticeship levels. How do I know what I want to do? Where can I look for apprenticeships? And then any questions. But guys, don't wait till the end to ask questions. Please ask me questions as we go along because it helps build this session. You can either put it in the Q&A box or put it in the chat box. I'm not fussed either way, just as long as we get the questions in and we can get the conversation going. Quick recap about the apprenticeship levels. We started the week talking about apprenticeship levels. Let's finish the week re-looking at them and recapping them. There's several different levels. You've got level 2, which is the intermediate GCSE level. I had a teacher ask me about level 1 earlier this week, and I'm going to be doing my research on that to see what we can find if there is level 1, what it is, because I think it's more traineeship, but I'm looking into that. So if you're interested in that, let me know, because once I've done the research and I get the right information, I'll be passing it on to the teacher for it. And so, yeah, so just so you know that the majority of apprenticeships, they start at level 2. Okay, so we'll look at that. They're intermediate, they're GCSE equivalent. But I don't want you to get too hung up about the GCSE A-level equivalent bit. Level 3 is an advanced apprenticeship equivalent to A-level. Levels 4, 5, 6, and 7 are what we call the higher foundation degree and above. Okay, so it's a higher because you can start at level 4 and you can start a higher apprenticeship, which is a level 4, 5, 6, and sometimes 7 included all in one. So it goes on all the way to get your degrees or your degree or your master's, excuse me, your bachelor or your master's. And there's a lot of apprenticeships which are just level 4. And they're kind of like a foundation degree. They're no less than an A-level. They're no more than a degree, but I don't want to compare them because they're very valuable in themselves. And level 4 will often give you the industry knowledge that you need to continue, and give you the industry qualification. For example, you can go into a level 4 in anti-money laundering and work at a bank. Or a financial organization looking after anti-money laundering. Okay, and then level 6 and 7 is what is called a degree apprenticeship, because you can get your bachelor's or your master's. Brilliant. That's the levels explained. Any questions, don't forget to put them in the chat box. The big question for students is, how do I know what I want to do? And if I can get in the chat box and people to tell me, what industries do you think you want to look at? And those parents or teachers that are in, can you tell me what industries you think your students or your children want to look at? Put it in the chat box for me. I'll give you a second. Brilliant. Digital marketing. What else we got? Or just marketing. Okay, fine. Ben, what about you? What are you interested in? Netilda, what's your daughter interested in? Transportation. Ah, yeah, you did tell me that yesterday, didn't you? TfL you're looking at. Not just TfL that exists, although it's a great area, you know, with London Underground, Ben. So we've got marketing or geography related. Okay, interesting. So when we look at these things, how does a student, how do you know, or how does a parent help their child know that that's something they want to go into? And this is what I always talk about. It's about doing the research before you get to the application stage. Economics and finance, economic finance, brilliant. So students and children, you need to do the research, but how do you do the research in those industries? Okay, so you research by going to events, virtually and physically. Okay, there's insight events, virtual work experience / taster days, work experience weeks and summer placements, and then there's the opportunities to meet and talk to current apprentices. The point of these sessions in terms of going to them is to get information about them. Insight events are really useful. They are what they say. They're an insight into that industry. Then you've got virtual work experience and taster days. Okay, why are they useful? Well, let's have a look. So an insight event is normally a 1 hour session. We run lots of insight events. They run out of curriculum time, so they're not during school. So for example, today we've done these sessions during school because it is National Apprenticeship Week and teachers have had students logging on because they've been looking at apprenticeships. There's been so much going on this week, but we've also had events going on in the evening. I've done events in the morning, so we've had lots going on. Okay, we do them outside of curriculum time so that students and parents and teachers can come to them in their own time. Not so much I mean, teachers are obviously always welcome, but it's about the parents and the students, the children. So usually 6 till 7. An insight event is a simple opportunity to meet a brand in an industry that you might be interested in. So Netilda might be interested in economics and finance. We'll come to the different insights events that we do with brands that are dealing within economics and finance. Ben is interested in transportation. Come to the ones that we do with transportation companies or companies who are involved in transportation. Amy, your child is, or I can't remember if it's you or your child or whatever, interested in marketing, in geography. So come to those events where we're talking about the marketing industry or companies that are in marketing and that have those opportunities. The point for students to come along to those is they give you an insight into what the event looks like and you get a feeling as to whether you're going to continue to like it or not. Because sometimes you'll come to them and go, oh, well, actually, that wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. And I'm not really sure if it is for me. So you can discount it, get rid of it. It gives you a chance to meet current apprentices, graduates, and people from HR. This is a really important point. The last two actually are really important. Meeting current apprentices and asking the questions you want answers to. When you know you're interested in those industries or you think you're interested in those industries, go and look at them. Go to the insight event. Meet the current apprentices and see what they tell you. Ask the questions that you want to have answered. Don't just sit there in silence and wait for other people to ask the questions. Interact, ask the questions. You're in front of those people who are in charge of HR. You're in front of those people who are doing apprenticeships, and you're in front of those people that potentially are graduates as well. So they've been to university and come in as a graduate, because maybe that's the route you want, but you don't know. So ask. And that's why it's really important to meet these people, to get their honest opinions. And that's where you start to understand more about what you're looking at. But the other important thing about insight events is for students especially, it's the quickest way to be able to get access to a brand. Okay, it's the quickest way to get access to a brand. So it's quite easy. It's free. We always do events for free. But the power in meeting somebody from HR. So I used to run recruitment for apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships for a company. Us recruiters, we're all the same. We remember people and we make connections. So if I was running an event like an insight event, and maybe let's say I'm running an event for my company and we have opportunities in marketing or digital marketing, okay? And you've got Amy and Elizabeth, who are both interested in that, and they come to that session and they ask a couple of questions. Now, later on, they might put an application into my opportunity, and I'd be working. I'm the HR person. I deal with recruitment, but I'm on the event, and then that comes back my way. During the application process, I read, oh, I'm interested in marketing, and this can be evidenced by the fact that I attended a Pathway CTM event in digital marketing at your brand that was about your brand. And you go, oh, okay. And when you come in for an interview, we'll ask you about that. And more often than not, we will remember you. But even if we don't remember you, just that fact that we've had the connection and we can see that you've been to our events puts you higher up the ladder because you're showing interest. You're not somebody that's, oh, have you ever been to an event about marketing or digital? No, never been to any events. I just know I want to do it, I think. Okay. But then I've got somebody else on the side here that is interested in marketing or digital marketing and has been to this event about it, has been to that event about it with all different companies, and has been to that event about it. So I'm now sitting there looking and going, so you've done your research. So you've looked at it several times and you're still here interested and you're telling me. Therefore, I know you're a really good candidate because you've been doing your research and you're definitely in the right place because you've had these touch points. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's just from a 1 hour insight event. So then what's a virtual work experience? Virtual work experience, also known as a taster day, can lead on to a physical work experience. This is a 4 hour session, usually we run them during half term, where you work with a brand in an industry that you might be interested in, or even an industry organization that encompasses a few different brands. And I'll show you an example of that. You get hands-on experience of what they do, and you work on live projects. And you get direct feedback from and answers to your question. So you get direct feedback from the people there, from the questions that you ask, and you get the answers to your question as well. So this virtual work experience, let's break it down a little bit more. We've talked about the insight event where you meet people from the brand and they pitch. Let's be honest, they're pitching, yeah? This is our brand, this is our industry, this is why it's great, this is why it's phenomenal, look what you can achieve, this is where you can get to. So they're selling it to you and you're excited by this and you're thinking, yep, I definitely want to go and do digital marketing with this firm, or I definitely want to do that. I want to get into that industry because I really like it and it's exciting me, everything they're saying. And these apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships are really going to get me to where I want to go to, and you're excited by that. The virtual work experience is the next step forward. It's more in depth. Now you get to work with the brand and they'll come along and they'll again pitch, hey, this is why we're amazing. These are the amazing things that we do. But why don't we get you doing some of the amazing things that we do on a day-to-day basis? So then you get moved into breakout rooms and you're working with people from that brand, people from Pathway CTM, other students like yourself who are interested. And you're given a little bit of project work to do and you work together on it. And it's on live data or live projects or projects that had previously been live. Work that they'd actually done. It's not just made up for this session. It's work that had actually been done in that company, by that brand, by that industry. So you get to have a look at what they do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, let's have a look at this marketing campaign that we put out for this client. And you might get to suggest what you would do about that marketing or how you would present it or what your ideas would be. Or maybe you even get to take it apart and criticize it and critique it and see if what they did was good or if you'd have done it differently or how you would have engaged with different age groups. What you're doing, though, is you're actually getting a feel for the actual work itself and you're seeing the kind of stuff that they do. Not everything is amazingly exciting, but, you know, it's interesting. But within that, you're starting to build skills. You know, you're putting skills together and you're demonstrating them. But then as you're working with the people, because you're getting a hands-on experience, you can actually see what they do on a day-to-day basis. And we say this is really important because then this virtual work experience will then, more often than not, it can lead on to a physical work experience. So you take a large group of people, 100 are interested, we get them to the virtual work experience, we break you up into smaller groups so it's still, you know, small, manageable, personal, and you go away and you do all of these things. And then afterwards, a certain percentage will turn around and go, that was great, but not for me. And then there's a certain percentage that go, that was amazing, I want more, that's for me. And then those would be the people that you'd then invite onto the physical work experience, and you guys would be looking at it going, I want to get onto the physical work experience. And maybe that's a visit to their office. But maybe it's also in an industry where it could be in the built environment or construction where you go and get to do a little bit more practical stuff on site or at their offices. a development site, whatever it could be. Okay. So what you're doing is you're getting even more hands-on experience, but you're building those relationships. Okay, you're building those relationships because those recruiters will remember you, those people there will remember you, and you're starting to build a rapport with the companies, referencing things that you can now put in your CV. Hey, I've done a virtual work experience with your company through Pathway CTM. But the question is, how is this all helping me find that apprenticeship? Because what you need to realize is doing this research step by step and going to these events, it shows you whether you are still interested or not, whether you want to continue with that idea or not. And if you do want to continue with that idea, when you come to these events, they will show you what the opportunities are. But because you've built the connection, when the opportunities happen, you'll then be told about it. Hey, you remember you came to that virtual work experience and you really loved it. That apprenticeship or degree apprenticeship is now open, or that summer placement or that internship is now open. Do you want to get in? Yeah, of course I do. And then just think of the power of being able to apply and saying, I'm applying for this apprenticeship, degree apprenticeship, or summer placement internship, because I've been to all of your other events and I thought they were amazing, and now I'm here. You are going to be 4 steps ahead of the student that just comes along and goes, oh, I read about this work experience, looks good, never been to any of your events. Do you see how this is helping you with your search? This is what it's all about. It's about the research and the finding out. And it's about closing doors and keeping some open. Virtual work experience and insight events, because of when they're run, you might not be able to attend them live. Fine, we get that. We record everything and it goes onto our video library. Like today, your daughter, one of the parents on here, Matilda, your daughter is at school. Great. She can't see this live. You can feed it back to her, but next week she can go and watch the actual recording of this session and watch it for herself and build her own opinion. That's why they're powerful and useful. It's great to be there live, of course it is, but we know that you can't go to every event. You can't go to every virtual work experience. If you did, you'd never have a life. So then where do I look for these events? I'm going to talk about the Pathway CTM events, because that's who I work for, and we're proud of the events that we do, and we're proud of what we accomplish with them. And we're proud that they're all free, always free for students and parents and teachers. We don't charge to come to these events, and that's why brands love working with us. So on this page here, I've shown you, look, you've got the Pathway CTM events page. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you the website so you can see it for yourself, or you can show your children or your students afterwards. A couple of important things. When you sign up as a student, you get asked what industries you might be interested in. The reason why we ask you that is so that we can then tailor the information we tell you. Hey, you said you were interested in health and social care. We've got a health and social care event coming up next week. Come along, it's free. That's when we interact with you. Oh, hey, there's an opportunity for health and social care that's opened up with the NHS in your area. You interested? Get your application in and we'll support you. That's why we ask that. But when you get beyond that stage and as a student, you log in, you're in. Like I said, you go to the events page. Let's have a look at the events page. What we got? This is the events. Well, today we're finding your ideal apprenticeship. Next week, we've got 3 taster days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, Thursday. Remember what I said about those multi-brand organizations, or maybe those associations that look after various brands? Changing the face of property is one of them. They look after a few different brands, okay? So they look after Savills, CBRE, JLL, okay? Gerald Eve as well. So you can come along to that. It's a 10 till 3, so it's 5 hours, but there's an hour's break in between for lunch. Come along, get to meet them, see what the different routes in, see what a surveyor does, see what somebody in the built environment does, see what somebody in construction does, what it can actually lead to. Is it all just builders and plumbers and electricians and estate agents? Or is it chartered surveyors, quantity surveyors, estimators? Is it legal people who write contracts? All of these different things. Architects, are they in there as well? So you come along and you meet and you get a sample of the kind of work they do. Same with BT. BT has so many roles across software engineering, network engineering, cybersecurity, digital and technological solutions. Vast. Again, it's a virtual work experience day. Meet the apprentices at BT. See what they do. See how they work on it. That Ask Me Anything session is a drop-in session for students. Normally, they're 4:30 till 5:30 on a Wednesday. Next week, I'm doing it 4 till 5, but that's because we've got a special guest star from British Airways who's coming to talk about or help students with their apprenticeship questions for British Airways. Okay. But then on Thursday, we've got virtual work experience with Thames Water. Don't just look at Thames Water and think it's just about water that's in the Thames. This is there's a lot of opportunities at Thames Water, a lot of great opportunities in Thames Water. Okay. Engineering ones, other office-based ones. You know, it's not just about being a scientist. But this, again, is a great work experience, a great taster day. Okay. Spread the word far and wide with friends and people. Okay. Those are virtual work experience events. But then let's have a look at a parent event. We've got some parents on. Got an event with KPMG, HSBC, and British Airways, and this is for you guys to help you guys understand really more about what your children are looking at. Okay. Then we've got an insight into Telford Homes. If anybody's interested in construction or the built environment, like I've said, all those roles: architecture, surveying, real estate management, building, project management, site management. Telford Homes, come and see what they do. Come and look at the developments they work on. But then you've got roles and opportunities at UBS. The point of these is that you can come to those events and start to really get a feel and an understanding for what those industries look like. And they're all there free. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So you're thinking, this is fabulous, Max, brilliant. Now I've seen companies I want to work for. Where do I find their opportunities? Do I have to go to everybody's single individual website and shoot myself in the head because I'm going to be working so hard on 15 different websites for different 15 careers pages to find the different opportunities, whether they're open or not? Well, on the Pathway CTM website, you've got the employment opportunities, and I'll bring that up as well. So let's get that up. So you can click on employers and opportunities. If you click on employers, for students, this is really great because you might not know who a brand is or what they do, but they look exciting. But you can see their names and you can go and scroll down and have a look at who they are and what they do. Okay. So somebody on here wants economics and finance. You've got the Institute of Chartered Accountants. Okay, let's click on them. Tells you who they are, tells you the industries they work in. You can register your interest about them as a student, gives you a video about them. Okay, so now you're starting to understand more about the brands. And then we look at the opportunities. And when you register interest, we'll tell you when their events are happening and when their opportunities are opening. And then we support you through your applications. So the employment opportunities are on our employment page. You know, you've got IBM is open today. Vodafone is open until this Sunday. Great roles at Vodafone. Great roles at Vodafone, you know, especially for students in the Thames Valley, Berkshire area around near Newbury. So all the opportunities are on here, okay? And when you apply through here, through Pathway CTM, it takes you directly to the website. But the point is that when you apply through us, because you're one of our students or you're signed up to us, we'll know that you've applied, and then you can ask for help and say, hey, can you help me with my CV? Can you help me prep for my interview? Can you help me prep for my assessment center? So you can look at the different employment opportunities. You know, HSBC is open for their work experience program. Get your applications in ASAP for that. Customer service at British Airways, engineering at BAE Systems, tax at Deloitte, and more and more. So we put them all in one place for you. Okay. But let's say you're not particularly hot on just using one website and you want to look everywhere. Okay. Your best other tool is the government website. Let's do it now live. You go to www.gov.uk. Let's do it together. Click on apprenticeship, search for apprenticeships and search find an apprenticeship. And it takes you to this search page and you click start and it will ask you questions. I want to look at current live apprenticeships as of today in marketing. Okay. What's your location? Use that one. We're within England. Okay. All levels of apprenticeships. Let's search. 774 apprenticeships in marketing currently open today. Okay. Digital marketing apprentice, all these different brands, all these different places. Okay. Let's have a look at if any are degree level. Let's see if it does it. 23 of them are degree levels. Okay. So you can start to see those opportunities that are there. If we work with that brand, it will be on our website and you can get support with your applications. If we don't work with that brand, still come to me for support with your application. Come to my Wednesday session, 4:30 to 5:30. We will help you. Okay. But let's go back to Pathway CTM for a second. The other thing I want to show you guys is this. Resources. Type in pathwayctm.com/resources. You got employability resources. For those students out there going, I really don't know how to put a CV together or how to put a cover letter together. I'm not really sure how to make myself stand out in an application and let alone use LinkedIn. And now I've got to prepare for the interview. And then they're going to ask me about my strengths. Everything's here, guys. It's free for all you students and teachers to use as well. Learn about how to construct the perfect CV. Yeah, there's modules about it. And there's templates about it, and there's a guide, and there's a workshop. There's so much information here for you guys. Just explore it and use it. Okay. Now, if you take a step back, have a look at preparing for interviews. How do I prepare for an interview? Well, you've got a masterclass with Experian. Okay. You got tips here. Brilliant. This will all help you with your search. This will all help you get closer to where you want to get to. That's just an example of the brands that we work with. The breadth of them is astounding. You can go far and wide. Okay. That's all on our website as well. But let's remember the apprenticeship facts. Over 2.2 million people have started an apprenticeship since 2015. Over 1,500 apprenticeship job roles available. And remember, I always say those are job roles. So within that one, maybe there's one of those job roles has 100 positions available. Another one of those job roles has 10 positions available. Okay, so it's not just 1,500 jobs, it's job roles. There could be 3,000, 10,000, 15,000 jobs. £1.5 million is the average lifetime earnings of a hire apprentice. That's level 4, huh? Of a hire apprentice. 93% of apprentices remain employed on completion. An apprenticeship isn't just you get hired, you get used, and then you get fired. No. 93% remain employed on completion. So think about that. Apprenticeships are really, really coming along. They're really rivaling university in a big way. Let's summarize. An apprenticeship is a real job. You get paid a salary. They last a minimum of 12 months. They can last longer. You do not pay for your training as an apprentice. Even if you leave halfway through because it really isn't for you and you've had all the support and you don't want to continue, you do not have to pay anything back. You're actually getting paid to learn. 80% of it is on the job, 20% off the job. So 20% you learn it, the other 80% you put it into action, that you're learning, that you have just learned. Put it into action so you get that experience as you go along. You don't learn it for 3 years and then go and put it into practice. There's thousands of apprenticeships in more than 170 industries. Right, start thinking of your questions. Put them in the chat box and the Q&A box for me. I showed you the events on our events page, but I just want to re-highlight that Thames Water one, because that's a great opportunity to open your eyes to a very different industry with lots of opportunities in it. And it's a really fun day. There's some real skills builder stuff built into this. It's going to be really good. And that's just another example. Roles and opportunities with UBS. Very prestigious Swiss bank, but they've got really great opportunities at a degree apprenticeship and even level 4. They've got some really good roles. Global asset management, wealth management, very fancy stuff, but great opportunities. Hit me with your questions. What have we got? What do we want to know? Did that help you understand a little bit more about how to search, how to find, how to narrow down what you want to do? Yeah, you would. Would I need to write a personal statement? It's usually called a cover letter. But Elizabeth, what I would say is what you need to think about is having this stuff ready before you start your applications, because then you tweak it and tailor it. Think about how to write a cover letter and what you're going to put in it, and then actually write a cover letter. I just showed you the resources on our website that takes you to how to write a cover letter, and you can come to my 4:30 session and ask for help. Before you start your applications, at a certain point, you should have your CV ready because then you just tweak it slightly according to who you're applying to. And you also have your cover letter ready. And again, you change it slightly according to who you're applying to. But if you've got your CV ready and you've got your cover letter ready, when you see those applications and they say, fill out this online personal statement, you can just fill in the information. You type it on because you've already formulated and thought about it and know what you want to say rather than just going for it. I love, yes, Amy, can virtual work experience go on a CV as well? Absolutely, yes. The fact that you've been to insight events can be referenced on your CV, but your virtual work experience can actually be put on as an achievement. I have been to these virtual work experiences, and you can put it on your LinkedIn profile. And we normally give you a certificate for coming to them, and you get a badge to put on your CV as well in terms of like a little I've been to this virtual work experience. It has to go on your CV because you need to reference it. It's such an advantage. Coming to a session like that is so beneficial that the companies really want to hear that you've been to them. If you go to one and then you apply to that company, you don't tell them that you went to one, you are losing a massive opportunity. They put them on and they run them because they want students to go to them and then get into their brand and reference the fact that they've been to that. What other questions have we got? I am pausing because I know it takes a little bit of time to type and I just want to make sure we get questions in. Ben, for you, I would start looking at getting on the TfL website and having a look at what kind of work experience days or virtual work experiences or insight events they do, because they do them. Just need to find out who with. Get along to them and get your name known. Build up your interest, but also have a look at other companies to do it as well. If that particular company in an industry that you're interested in doesn't do a virtual work experience, find another company that is going to do a virtual work experience that is in the same industry, because you still get a feel for the industry. You're just meeting a different company. It's not the best, but if the company you're interested in doesn't do it, but somebody else in the same industry does, go along and you find out about the industry. But then also, maybe if they don't do it, maybe you want to rethink about joining that brand, because are they that engaged? Any other questions at all? I'm hoping that has made some sense. I'm hoping that's made some sense. So right, let's cover a couple of two really good questions have just come in. After work experience or apprenticeship, can you apply for university? So Natilda, if your daughter was to go off to do an apprenticeship, most likely it would be a degree apprenticeship. You don't need to go to university because through your apprenticeship, you get the degree. It's aligned to a university, but they're working a job. So for example, I think you said your daughter is interested in economics and finance. Let's say your daughter went to do a degree apprenticeship at PwC in auditing or finance, okay? Your daughter has a real job at PwC and is getting paid a salary. But 20% of the time she's studying for her degree. But the work, the actual real work that she does also counts towards her degree, because the stuff that she's doing in the real job is the same as she would be learning on her degree. But rather than sitting in a classroom learning about it, she's learning it by doing it in the job itself. And she's heavily supported by that company. 20% is off work time to actually complete the studies and the assignments towards that degree. After 4 years, your daughter will qualify with that degree, with a bachelor's. Okay, so you do your bachelor, you have your bachelor's, so you've got your degree and you've been doing a real job and being paid a salary, and you'd have been promoted 2 or 3 times and had a pay rise 2 or 3 times. You've got the degree. You don't ever need to step into a university full time. and you never go and need to pay a university £9,000. If your daughter did a level 4 or a level 3 and then a level 4 or a level 2, then a level 3, then a level 4 apprenticeship, she could then decide to go and do a degree at university because she's got the level 4, but even she has the A level, she could go to university. But then you'd have to wonder, why would you want to go and do that and pay the university £9,000 rather than staying in the job that I've got and getting my degree with the job and actually doing it and getting paid for it? So you don't actually have to step into a university full time. Okay. The work experience, the virtual work experiences, yes, you can still apply to university with it, but the virtual work experience is about getting industry knowledge. It's about finding out about that industry and seeing if you really want to go forward and apply with them or work in that area. Okay, hopefully that makes a bit more sense. And Tilda, if you still have more questions, don't be afraid to come to my 4:30 till 5:30 session on a Wednesday and ask me directly. Okay. So Amy, you keep finding apprenticeships that interest you, but their start date is before you finish your A levels. Is there a chance they will reach that role again at a later date? Do you have any examples of those apprenticeships? Because normally the apprenticeships should start in September, like you would if you were going to university or going to do A levels. So you'd be applying for them now, and then you potentially do your A levels this summer and then start their apprenticeship in September. But if what you're saying to me is that potentially you could currently be in year 12 and you're looking at apprenticeships, companies, they open the same apprenticeships every year and usually add to them. So if you're looking at them now and you're thinking, but they start next September and I've got to do my last year of A level, guaranteed in that September, October, November to January, February, March period, the applications will open to them. And so will the application process, and then they'll start in the September. So for example, if you're year 12 and you graduate in July 2023, those apprenticeships will start in September 2023. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know. Elizabeth, would I still have exams and stuff to get the degree? You would have assessments. You would have assessments. You would still have to hand in work, but a lot of the physical work you do as well is evidence towards your degree. Okay. So you work towards it in slightly different ways because you're actually doing the real job. And then you can evidence that and say, well, can you give me an example? Like you do an assignment about, I don't know, if you're doing law, you do an assignment about how to prepare a case. Well, you don't need to write assignment about it because you've actually physically done it in real life. And that's your evidence. Well, here's the evidence. I've done it in real life. It's been seen by my assessor at the company who looks after the work, and my university has verified it. That goes towards my credits. I don't know if there would be exams. Again, it depends on the degree apprenticeship. It depends on the industry you go into. There might be some exams, there might not be. They're all very different. But you still, at the end of it, you still get the same bachelor's degree or master's that you would have got if you'd have been at university. Ben, great work on doing the research and finding out about TFL apprenticeships, and get yourself on that webinar during half term. Absolutely get yourself on that webinar. And Natilda, hopefully, thank you. Yes, that hopefully made sense. And like I said, if you've got more questions, come to any of you. If you've got more questions, come to my sessions on a Wednesday, 4:30 till 5:30, except next week it's 4 till 5 because I'm with British Airways. Perfect. Any other questions that you guys have? And I'm hoping you found this session useful. Same for anybody watching the recording. Really hope you found the session useful. I hope you've managed to stick it out for 40 minutes. No, it can be a bit long, but there's some really useful information in there. What I want you guys to understand is that this is in your hands. Don't wait for other people to tell you about these opportunities and to tell you what you might be interested in. Go out and do the research yourself. Find out for yourself. As a young student, as a young adult, make your own decisions and go and do the research so you can back up your decisions. And when your parents come to you and say, why do you want to do that? Mom, Dad, let me show you why. Let me tell you why, because then you've got the real stuff in your hands. And then you can tell them to watch the recordings or come to the recordings. Don't wait, oh, my teacher said I might be good at that, so I might give that a crack. No, go and find out for yourself. Go to the events, meet apprentices, meet graduates, get their stories, see which one resonates with you better. If you were going to apply to university, you'd go to UCAS, you'd go to all these university open days and check them out. It's the same with apprenticeships. Get on their Insight events, check them out, ask them questions, go and meet those apprentices. This is it, day 5 of National Apprenticeship Week. Signing off with this last event, which I hope has been a good event to finish the series of 5 sessions that we've done. Thank you all for coming along, and for anybody that's watching these recordings and learning. It's been great to do them. Come to my sessions if you've got more questions. But in the meantime, get your eyes open, get your applications in, get those apprenticeships, and make sure that your futures are looking good and bright. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to these sessions. Have a wonderful weekend.